What's up guys, James here from BootWizard Boot Reviews, and today we are going to be looking at the Adidas Preadator 20.1 in this low cut variation. This is the boot that everybody's been going crazy over, which is very funny considering a few years ago we were all going crazy over mid-cut boots. Adidas drop a low cut and we all lose our minds. And why not? Because this is probably the best looking silhouette of any boot that has been released recently. Now, if you've seen my other reviews on the Preadator line, the Plus, or especially the 0.1 Mid, you will know that I haven't been 100% behind the Preadator line so far. I just think that it's missing certain things, and for me, nobody's talking about them. This boot, or all the Preadator line, has issues, and nobody's talking about these issues, and for the life of me I can't work out why. They're good boots, they're not perfect boots. So what we're going to do today is we're going to break this one down, the last bastion of hope for the Preadator 20 line, to get a really positive review from me, and we're going to see, are these worth your money or are they overhyped? Remember to like this video, remember to hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed, and of course you can head over to Patreon, patreon.com/bootwizard to pledge there if you want. So let's jump in, straight in, and see what we think of this Preadator 20.1 low, and has it managed to convince me? So the upper, what have we got? What do we like? What don't we like? What we've got is of course the demon skin, which is this rubber element that runs all the way around the front of the boot and pretty much into any area that you're going to come in contact with the ball. The boot itself has been made significantly thinner from the previous generation. There's lots of layers of material removed, but because of that demon skin, it's not a thin barefoot touch. What it is a very dampened touch on the ball. It's not necessarily a bad thing, just a matter of preference. In terms of the demon skin and how that performs, in short, it works. This is not a technology that's particularly gimmicky in terms of its performance. I have wondered whether it's in my head because I know it's there. Do I think it's making a difference? But having used this, the 20 Plus, the 20.1 Mid, for a reasonable amount of time, I feel like this genuinely works. You can get better purchase on the ball, and it does help with adding bend and etc. to the ball because you just simply get more grip. And I love the inclusion of a new rubber striking element on a Preadator, because that's what a Preadator should have, right? The rest of the upper is constructed from a woven material, so you don't get the prime knit that you're going to get on the 20 Plus. You get a woven material covered with these vamps here. Now, admittedly, this does feel a little softer than what I got on the 20.1, and it does seem to break in okay. But I do have the same issue that I do think it's a little bit stiff, and my bigger issue is that I think that making this from a woven material, the quality of the materials used, the quality of the vamps is simply not good enough for a boot that's being charged at 220 euros. The Plus model and the 0.1 takedowns are supposed to be top end boots, and what Adidas is starting to offer at this point is a Plus model with all the bells and whistles, and then a 0.1 model which actually feels a bit like a takedown, which is very disappointing when a takedown is coming in at 220 euros and needs to be competing with everything around it from Nike, Puma, and New Balance. So is it the worst thing in the world? No. Do I think it could and should have been better? Yes. Now, with that said, the way that the upper's constructed and the material that's being used has led this boot to be a much more responsive and far more aggressive feeling boot than what we got previously from the 18 and 19 ranges, which had a nice, comfortable, slippery type vibe. These are a proper, aggressive, responsive style of boot, and that thinner upper definitely helps that feeling. So while I don't particularly like the fact that it definitely feels like we've had elements taken away and it is a genuine takedown option, it does perform very well, particularly in those areas of responsiveness, of lockdown, and that touch on the ball, provided you like that solid, punchy, slightly dampened feeling. This is going to work out just nicely for you. So I think the Preadator 20.1 Low is unquestionably a fantastic looking boot, and this silhouette is absolutely amazing. I think this is definitely the best looking across all of the current Preadator line, and I really don't have any complaints looks wise. The Shadowbeast pack or the other alternative, the Mutator pack, they both look absolutely amazing, and I would be very happy to wear either of them from a looks point of view. That demon skin is absolutely incredible. It's just a beautiful looking boot, isn't it? Well played, Adidas. Well played. So, sole plate and stud pattern. What we've got here is the area where there's absolutely no doubt there's no takedown elements. This is exactly what you get on the plus level model. The stud pattern, the sole plate, it's all the same. The only difference is you don't get the wearable finish or the fancy graphics, but that doesn't affect performance, so we're not too worried. What we're getting is a brand new control frame. Shares the same name as the previous generation, but is nothing like it at all. We've gone for a brand new split sole design from Adidas, and that's both to give us some really nice throwback vibes, a little bit of Predator mania in there, but it also means that Adidas have installed a brand new anatomical sole plate system, very similar to what you're going to find on the Nike Mercurial line. Now, is it as good as the Nike Mercurial one? I don't think it is. I don't feel like I'm sat down into the boot, and it's not quite as seamless. It definitely took me a little while to get used to it. But on the whole, it is very good, and it does make the boot feel a bit more responsive, which is what this whole boot really is going for. It's more aggressive, it's more responsive, and that's definitely shown in the fact that the heel and midfoot of this boot are very stiff and very stable, with plenty of flex in the forefoot. This is designed to be far more aggressive than what we've previously had from the Preadator line. The aggressiveness shows up in the reworked stud pattern and stud shape as well. So we've got these 4 studs in the back, which are a little bit more of a bladed style stud, and then up in the forefoot we have much thinner profile studs that definitely get more purchase in the ground than we got from the 18 and 19 ranges, and they're designed to be a bit more aggressive but still give you good rotational movement, and you get 3 diamond shaped studs in there as well. This stud pattern is definitely way better suited to an FG pitch than an AG pitch, and that is how Adidas advertise it, FG, although there are many other retailers advertising it as FG AG. It will work fine on AG, but as I say, FG is definitely where this excels, and it's good. It's not exceptional, it doesn't do anything crazy or revolutionary, but is it an improvement? Yes. Does it give you better traction? Yes. And do I really have many complaints? No. That anatomical sole plate, just a little bit weird for me and does take some getting used to. But an improvement's an improvement. So in the low cut, that's going to come in at 225 grams. Now that's not excessively light, it's not crazy heavy either. You're not really going to have any complaints. It is ever so slightly lighter than what you're going to get from the 20.1, and it's also lighter than the 20 plus by quite a bit. So it's the lightest option in the current Preadator lineup, but I don't have any complaints really. It's not great, it's not terrible, it just is. Yeah, there you go, 224 grams. So, value for money. And I'm going to try my very best not to rant. So, this is 220 euros. The top end Preadator 20 Plus is 280 euros. And the whole concept of the Preadator lineup, the way it's set up, is for the Plus and the 0.1 to be co-top end models, and then for the boots to move down 0.2, 0.3 into genuine takedown. boots. Now, there are differences between Plus and 0.1 models across the Adidas range. The X, for example, the X19 Plus and the X19.1 offer completely different uppers, but they're both equally premium and they both equally perform at a very impressive level. My issue comes in the fact that the Predator 20.1 in the mid or the low is a genuine takedown feeling boot. The quality of the materials that you get across the upper are not as high as you get on the Plus level model. Yes, you get the demon skin, but the demon skin is designed differently. This is far less aggressive than what you're going to get on that Plus level model. The rubber element is angled differently, it's not quite as long, and there's far less of it. Now, admittedly, the amount doesn't matter too much because it is in the key areas on the 20.1. But realistically, putting the two together, you can see and feel that almost everything about the upper of the 20 Plus is more premium, has more value added. With the 20.1, it's just not there. Now, that doesn't mean it's not an okay boot. It doesn't mean it's not a good boot. It doesn't mean the materials are bad. It just means that if you're going to charge me 220 euros for a pair of football boots and try and pass off that you have top end models, you need to make the 0.1 model equally as premium as the Plus model. And it doesn't feel it at all. The upper is stiffer, the materials aren't as good, there's less demon skin, it's less effective, and while I would still prefer to rock this because it has the laces and therefore performs a little bit better, realistically, for 220 euros, it's a bit frustrating. The fit and comfort on the Predator 20.1 Low. Now, this is the area that I had the biggest problem with the 20.1 mid because I had a massive issue with the way that the boot fit through the midfoot. It was far too tight, it was foot squeezing, and at one point I'm pretty confident I described it as unwearable. Now, because the Low is constructed slightly differently because that collar has been removed, there is a little bit more room through the midfoot and it's not quite as constricting and it doesn't bother me as much, but you need to be aware that this is a tight fitting boot through the midfoot and you should definitely not be trying this if you have wide feet. I don't recommend it at all. Then on top of that, with the fit in the heel, because that's changed as well, again because the collar's gone, this is the area where I think there's been a trade-off. There is less heel lockdown and the lockdown in that area is worse when you compare it to the 20.1 mid, and there's definitely a little bit of heel slippage there. I think that's something that Adidas definitely need to address, and I would definitely recommend grip socks just to give you a little bit of extra support in that area. I don't think it's going to be an enormous problem for anybody, but you definitely want to be aware of it. And then going to the other end of the boot, we have the issue with the toe box. This is a problem across every boot in the Adidas Predator 20 lineup, and it baffles me, and I don't know why the boot was made like this. The midfoot is very narrow, and then the toe box is much wider. There is far too much room in the toe box and not enough room in the midfoot. Thankfully, because of the slight change in construction in the midfoot and it being that little bit wider, you can just about get away with going down half a size in the low cut boot, which I do recommend doing if you can get away with it, just because that room in the toe box is far too much. So Predator 20.1 Low, definitely my favorite Predator in the current Predator 20 lineup. It's definitely better than the Plus because of performance. You get the lacing system, it just helps that lockdown and responsiveness so much, and the low cut does seem to fix some of the problems that I have with the 20.1 mid. But is this the future of football boots, the be all and end all, the greatest thing we've ever seen? Absolutely not, and that seems to be what we've been told for the last 6 weeks by almost everyone. Sometimes a boot comes along with so much hype that there's nothing bad said about it, and I think what we have to do sometimes, we have to cut through that and try and get objective, honest feedback, and hopefully that's what I've done for you here today. Is this a great boot? Absolutely. Should you consider it? Yes, you should. But does it have an imbalanced fit between the midfoot and the forefoot? Yes, it does. Does it need some improvement in the heel area in terms of the fit? I believe so. Are the materials far cheaper, and does it feel like a takedown compared to the Plus level? Absolutely. So yes, good boot. Perfect boot? No, because it doesn't exist. If you've got the Predator 20.1 Low or you're going to buy it, I want to hear your opinion. Drop it down in the comments. Remember to like this video and also hit that subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber. And if you want to support the channel, then please head over to patreon.com/BootWizard where you can pledge. You can click around my face for a multitude of other videos on the Adidas Predator line. But that's all from BootWizard here today. I hope you've enjoyed it. Have a good one, and I'll see you soon.